Hello and welcome to my tiny tarot practice. I'm Amelia Freebie. I'm the host of this podcast and it records my tiny tarot practice where we explore the tarot card by card, starting with the minor arcana. Today's card is the Five of Pentacles. In the Rider-Waite-Smith edition of the deck of the tarot, in this card we see two figures in the foreground walking through snow. One of them is on crutches, the other is wrapped in blankets and looks very cold, and generally they look kind of unhappy. Not to read too much into their expressions, but they don't seem positive. In the background, we see this beautiful stained glass window and what appears to be a church of some kind. It's got the window has 5 pentacles in it, and it's like glowing, almost lit from within. And that leads many people to interpret this card or interpret that building as a church, and to interpret this card as one of somehow being cast out or being unable to access the promise of sanctuary within the building. When I look at this card, I think of what I've been calling in my mind drudgery, which is not a real word, but where drudgery means trudging through the snow. It feels like one of the more challenging and negative cards of the tarot, if I'm being perfectly honest. It seems like a card of cold, a card of being on the journey and seeking warmth, seeking sanctuary, seeking a home, seeking a rest, and being unable to find that, even though it's so present right next to you. We see these two figures. They're not looking at the building that's glowing behind that with warmth behind them. They're looking away from it. And so we don't know if they actually can get into, or they could access this building and have that warmth, but they somehow are unable to see it, or if they have been denied entry. And so when I went to some of my favorite texts to explore different interpretations of this card, I found that people have different thoughts on it. So Rachel Pollack in 78 Degrees of Wisdom definitely flags this card as a card of hardship, of material troubles. But she then connects them passing the church and kind of looking away from it to this 5 of Pentacles card, to the 5 of the major arcana and the Hierophant. And the way that perhaps these folks have rejected dogma, have rejected, everything that this church upholds, and therefore are outcast from it. And they're looking away because they've chosen not to enter. And that's hard, and it's cold, and it's challenging, but it is an empowering choice. That's also how Jessa Crispin in the Creative Tarot reads that, as a card of feeling rejection, but seeing that as a sign of doing it your own way and of your own agency and ability to create in your own process. Jessica Dorr in Tarot for Change kind of takes it a different direction that I found really interesting, pointing to the ways that sometimes nourishment is available to us, but we're too busy numbing out and turning away to access that which we actually need, or that which would actually make us feel fulfilled or comforted. Or perhaps we're only accessing that which makes us feel comforted, but not that which actually heals us or heals our wounds. So there's so much in this card. When I've pulled it for myself in readings of the past, I've just kind of grown, and I'm like, all right, something is not working right now. Something feels hard. Something feels bad. Something's having a material problem. But I think there are different ways to interpret it. And I think were I to pull it now, I would be asking myself if there's a place in my life that I feel rejected, if there's a place in my life that I've rejected myself, if there's a place in my life where I've chosen to reject something or cast off something, and perhaps that's left me adrift or out in the cold. And I'd want to sit with whether being out in the cold was something I wanted to comfort and to find my way back into the sanctuary, or whether it's something that I wanted to embrace and step deeper into and farther away from that sanctuary of perhaps what is familiar and step into the unknown. And I think depending on the situation, depending on what I had in mind, would determine whether I'm trying to find my way back into belonging or whether I'm stepping out of a comfort zone so that I might find a deeper, more fulfilling sense of belonging elsewhere. That's today's card, my friends. That's the 5 of Pentacles. If you enjoyed this episode, you can support the podcast by making a purchase from our bookshop. It's linked in the show notes, and there I collect all of my favorite books and decks. And if you purchase through that link, I'll receive a small affiliate payment that helps me keep this podcast going. And you'll get a really rad tarot book or deck or puzzle. I'm always filling the shop with the new, cute, fun, supportive tools and things that I find on bookshop.org. So head there, check that out. Thank you so much for joining me in this reflection on belonging, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day.